this week, we produced a graphic. We did some research, and it was based on this invitation. And this is part of our coverage of the Senate special election for Senate District 16 up in the Russellville area. There are three candidates that are running in the Republican primary. There's Mr. Bob Bailey, who has been on this program. There is Breanne Davis, who has not been on this program. And there's Mr. Luke Heffley. I actually spoke with Mr. Luke Heffley yesterday, and he will be on tomorrow morning at 6:33. So we will be talking to Mr. Heffley tomorrow. This invitation was circulated around. This is an invitation you see on your screen for a fundraiser for Breanne Davis. And we showed you this invitation, and we showed you all of the names, all of the people who were putting this invitation or putting this fundraiser on. And so what Conduit News did was research the people who were openly hosting this fundraiser for Breanne Davis. And they connected the dots. So here's the publication or the graphic that we produced for Breanne Davis, basically showing each one of these people are lobbyists, and they're connected to certain lobbies. And so this is their chosen candidate. Breanne Davis apparently is their chosen candidate. She's welcome to come on the program and debate the issues, because I really think there's a lot of listeners in her area that want to know where she stands on these issues. But as you can see, this is what we produced. Medical marijuana lobbyists. So you got lobbyists on this list: medical marijuana, healthcare, big pharma, Medicaid, gambling, alcohol, corporate welfare, internet tax, tobacco. And there's several of them that do work in both of those areas or multiple areas. And, this is who they want. This is the person that's going to protect the status quo. This is Asa Hutchinson's candidate from what it looks like. And I would love for her to come on and let's just be honest about where we stand on things, right? She, here in a minute, I'm going to show you a Facebook post from her where she is saying that Arkansas Works and Obamacare are not the same thing. Really? You can't have Arkansas Works without Obamacare being the law. So we're going to talk more about that here in a minute. But when we exposed this and did some investigating, I also told you that we were going to dive into the financials of Mr. Bob Bailey as well as Mr. Luke Heffley. Okay? Now, and again, Luke is going to be on tomorrow. Let's start with Luke Heffley because, everybody's been filing their campaign contributions. And you can see here, this is, pulled from the financial report. Luke Heffley's campaign contributions are from individuals. And one individual's name is Mike Huckabee. Is that former Governor Mike Huckabee? I don't know. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 people who have contributed, according to the financial report, to Mr. Luke Heffley. So there we go. That's who is supporting him. You can see the names on the screen there. You've got looks like a family member with the last name Heffley, and then a few others. Again, 7 people. So now let's look at Mr. Bob Bailey's. Now here we go. Mr. Bob Bailey. Let me pull it up on mine. I'm using this bailout screen, Joe. Here we go. So if you look at Bob Bailey's campaign contributions, he has a majority of his money, a lot of his money, from political action committees. He also has a lot of money from individuals that you can see down there in this graphic. And again, this one is pulled from down there cited iReport. So look at these PACs. There's a PAC that he's being supported by. It's called ARI Structure. There's a PAC, Commerce in Action. Arkansas Business Services, Arkansas Manufacturing First, Arkansas Natural Resources, Arkansas People First, Arkansas Trade First, Commerce in Action, PAC 2. Now, full disclosure, the founders of these PACs are also the founders of this network, Conduit News. That's right, full disclosure. Being fully transparent this morning, I wanted you to know that. I wanted you to know that the founders of these organizations are the same founders behind Conduit News, the medium by which I am speaking to you today. Boy, am I grateful for that. But when you start to compare this, look at what we have here. These different PACs are about conservative government, smaller government, free enterprise, individual freedom, traditional American values, strong national defense. Now think about that for a second. Contrast that. Go back to the Breanne Davis. Contrast that with the lobbyists, as we can see. Medical marijuana, health care, big pharma, Medicaid, gambling, alcohol, corporate welfare, not free enterprise, corporate welfare, the internet tax, increasing taxes, and tobacco. Now, again, as I said the other day, there is absolutely nothing wrong in terms of legality with lobbyists. This is the system we have. You have industries that are paying people. The people on this list throwing this fundraiser for Breanne Davis are being paid. They are making money off of the industries that they support. Now go back to Bob Bailey's contributions. Go back to this graphic. Tell me who gets paid, who makes money for advocating for limited government. Now you could say, well, if you have lower taxes, but that's not for just one person. That's not for a specific tobacco, alcohol, Medicaid. No. If we have lower taxes, and you do it the right way, the fair way, and you treat everybody equal under the law, everybody gets to keep more of their own money. So you could say, yeah, okay, what? We have more freedom to the people? Okay. But aside from those benefits that are obvious when you have more freedom for everybody instead of, carving out financial niches for this industry or for that industry, who is paying who here? The bottom line is, the message that you're hearing right now, people are paying to get it out. They're not making any money off of this because it's not profitable. It's not profitable to advocate for limited government and freedom. It's not as profitable as saying, hey, let's get a lobbyist in there and let's use the government to make sure that we maintain a taxpayer-funded revenue to insurance companies. Whoa, that's very profitable. Can you think about it? I mean, these lobbyists, they're taking the taxpayer money that they're already getting. These companies are taking the taxpayer money that they're already getting. They're siphoning off a portion of that to go fund a lobbyist down at the Marble Palace to make sure the taxpayer-funded revenue stream continues. There's a lot of money in that, folks. We have an uphill battle. And this whole investigative reporting, getting into these financials, it started because somebody was, talking on Facebook, and it wasn't even a big deal, wasn't even really going anywhere, but it did spark an idea. Let's compare. Let's compare the lobbyists who are supporting Breanne Davis for this special election in Senate District 16. And this is a big deal. The reason I'm focusing so much on this, folks, is because this is a power struggle. This is a race between the people and ordinary folks versus the gatekeepers of the Marble Palace bubble, the Marble Palace elite. That's what this is. It's what every race in Arkansas boils down to, especially now that there's not really a general election. Your general election are your Republican primaries, especially in a district like District 16. The Republican's going to win. The Republican's going to win. Barring some sort of, fluke, personal crisis or whatever, the Republican's going to win. So this is where ideas matter, okay? This is where we actually get to govern ourselves. So the people's voice gets to be heard in these primaries. So it's very important that we try to be as transparent as possible, and we lay out, well, what are your goals? What are your goals? Are you going down there to protect the status quo, the power structures that have been in place since Bill and Hillary Clinton were running around Arkansas, the same power structures and bureaucracies and lobbyists and special interests that almost that began the political careers that almost put two, not one, but two Clintons in the White House. It's pretty straightforward. The people want reforms. The people want a conservative government, a smaller government, a government that promotes free enterprise, individual freedom, traditional American values, strong national defense. These are what these PACs that have given money to Bob Bailey's campaign. That's what they're about. Back to the Breanne Davis invitation. Breanne Davis, the people that have thrown this fundraiser for her. They are about medical marijuana, health care, big pharma, Medicaid, gambling, alcohol, corporate welfare, internet tax, and tobacco. The comparisons are they just reveal a stark contrast. How about that? A very, very stark contrast.